I'm thinking Bengals game. Optimistic. Bengals him coming back. If he comes back Baltimore, that's even better. It's even better. Because the thing with this, Marcus, is you gotta keep it in place. It's gotta be, stabilized. And so he's got to wear that brace for a long time, at least a sling for a while, for a week or two. And you really can't move your arm, because it's got to stay in the same place. You got to sleep this way. So I had to sleep this way. I had to get up the same way all the time because it could be anything to get the thing out of that little joint right there, that cavity. And so that's why it's so important that it wasn't surgery wasn't required for something like that. And actually, like looking at it now, what they were talking about, like having it where it could have been, worse, back where it could have did some blood vessels and stuff. I might not have known the severity of when they were talking back then. Like I told you, it was 20 years ago when this happened. Right. And so, I'm sure the doctors at least was like, okay, when the surgery and they know I couldn't breathe, they wanted to check it out. I'm sure they wouldn't want to be too, get me too worried. Like you could have severed this and that, you know what I mean? So, I was already in duress at that moment. So,
yeah, it's interesting just reading more about this injury than seeing that like the injuries mostly related to they mostly seen in people who come from car accidents. Hospitals usually see people come in with car accidents with this injury.
yeah.
It just goes to show you, it's the NFL, man. Like things can happen, Like and in the last few years, we've seen stuff, right? We've seen, the DeMar Hamlin injury. And like seeing this and how scary this injury is. And I've seen Charles Driver. Yeah, you can die from this injury. That's why you need to act swiftly on this because people can die. It can block your airwaves and you can you die. And it's really wild that some of these injuries that we see in football that like can happen on even a play like that. Literally he just caught like a 12-yard pass, goes into the ground, but from that, like it's wild.
Man, and you see the force that it goes down into it, and it just when I look at the replay, I was like, oh man, I could, yeah. And so, yeah, I think at the time, like I said, they're not letting you know. At least they didn't like you could die from it. I think when I was sitting over and I couldn't breathe, they was like, okay, we gotta get him over here, and I think that was mine more so than anything else. Is we want him to asphyxiate, to death. Like we want to make sure because I'm sitting there thinking like, man, do you have to do a trachea and all that, a trach? Like what has to, to get my breath back. But this is it's promising news. It's promising news. Thank God it wasn't worse than what it was. And so him able to come back and get back here in Kansas City and get the doctors and they get their eyes on him and the training staff, let them do a good job with him and get him ready to where he needs to be. But you know what? And I know we'll talk about it a little bit more. But that goes into the conversation about wide receiver and people talking about, do we need another wide receiver and all those different things, And look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. We don't need another guy. He was more than enough on the firepower. But we still got Worthy, we still got Rice, Travis Kelce, we still got Tony, we still got Harmon, we still got Ross, we still got Watson, we still got Moore, Sky Moore, Tony. We got guys. We have guys here, right? Remigio, if we need to. And so when we watch the first offense, click, a lot of it has to do with Pat and his decisions on things. We know these guys are catching football. We know that, okay? So I don't really have any concern about those things as far as guys getting open and catching footballs because Pat's going to make them right. He's going to give them a ball that they can catch. He's going to give them a ball that, they're going to be able to handle. And so I think that's what it is just getting the timing and stuff down. And I think Worthy still needs to get some more of that. Okay, he's still a little bit behind, and you could almost tell that. I don't think he's still opening up full speed. There was one that he had where he was running the vertical route, and he did like a stutter step, shoot, and he just didn't blow by the guy. I didn't see a 4.2. I didn't see that coming out of him. So he still might just be gauging and still getting like the whole speed of the game. For your first preseason, that's what it's going to take. So.
And plus, like I know people are making big deals about it, and we talked about this on Saturday. can't make that big of a deal of preseason week one, especially game one. It's the first game, especially
Right.
rookies. Worthy didn't play after that first drive, right? And we talked about how he probably was pulled out because of the Hollywood Browns. You're like, well, we don't know how severe this is right now. We're going to take you out just in case. Okay. So yeah, can't. I've seen a lot of people overreacting, especially with the receiver room. JuJu Smith-Schuster, and I'm just going to say this right now. JuJu Smith-Schuster, he was great for us a couple of years ago, but that was a couple of years ago. And I know the crazy thing is he's still under 30, which is wild. He's just been in the league for a long time. But JuJu, he looks, and like the way he looked last year in New England, he looked like a guy who's, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful anyway. He looked like a guy who's 33, 34. He looks like a guy towards the end of his career kind of deal. And the fact that DeMario Douglas, Kendrick, and people want to talk about how bad our receiver room was. This is a receiver room last year that had DeMario Douglas and Kendrick Bourne, guys who are, number 3, number 4 receivers on teams where they've been before. DeMario Douglas, I think, was a second-year guy or a rookie last year. But JuJu wasn't getting plenty of time on that team last year. So, I mean, JuJu's not coming in here and doing what he did 2 years ago. I just don't think it's going to happen. And plus, JuJu's not replacing Hollywood Brown's role. That's two totally different guys. So JuJu comes in here as a redundancy to a Rashee Rice role. I mean, I just don't know how JuJu's replacing Hollywood Brown's production. But thankfully, hopefully, if at worst case, it's a 1 week thing for Hollywood Brown. But I just don't think JuJu's going to come in here and do much. That's my take on the whole thing.
Well, I'll say this. I think JuJu is still a good receiver. I think it's all about situation for him. Who wanted to be in New England last year? Really? And then now he's got a rookie quarterback. So I think a lot of it goes into just his unhappiness and maybe not really working into it, right? And so sometimes chasing the money ain't always it. Ain't always what you need to go get the bag, right? If you go get the bag and you get paid what you did, okay, they gave him a little something. But the grass wasn't green on the other side. That's what it is.
We lost you, brother. You're back.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Can he still come in and be successful here? Absolutely. No doubt about it. I don't think that's a question. JuJu can still come in here and catch 50 balls because he still has that skill set about him. Like you said, he's under 30, so he can still strive. He can. My thing is, when you have a young receiving core like this and guys are already kind of in your
mic again, brother.
See, what am I? Hold on, get my mic together. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So, what I was saying before, that's the problem. The problem is when you have other guys here that's been doing the work, I don't think he's a guy that you need to go and kind of disrupt some of that. I just don't. And so that's why I said I don't think we need JuJu. Could we use the skill set? Absolutely. Anytime. I think anybody can use JuJu's skill set, right? That needs it. I don't think the Chiefs need it right now. We got enough guys here. So lean on those guys that you got here, okay, who's been here, and just roll with them. So I don't think that, knee-jerk reaction, oh, go get JuJu. No, man, look, we good. We good with the guys we have. We really are. So I don't know why everybody looks so up in arms and so nervous with the guys that we have here, okay? We got quality guys. If Rice was out, that'd be a whole different situation. That'd be something totally different, okay? But we still have a number 1 wide receiver back. We got it back, brother. So then we got a number 1 pick with Worthy, which we know is a dog, okay? Once he gets past his nervousness, what Andrea said, right? Worthy said he had to get past his nervousness. I believe that. I was hyperventilating my first one. I was like, it's going to take him a little time. He's going to be fine. Look, he's going to be right as rain when it comes game 1. He should be ready.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.